Well, welcome back to the Gobby Gaffer Rebuilds, and this time we're going to have a look at Leicester City FC, who, as we all know, have just been relegated into the Championship, and we're going to be using the database that I've used on all these rebuilds, where we start in May, June time of 2023 and simulate the season through to 2024 and see if we can get them promoted. However, this time I'm going to throw a little twist into the mix. Now, I've seen quite a few content creators using asymmetrical tactics and even tactics that hark back, donkey's years basically. And they seem to be having quite a lot of success with them, and I don't know whether the AI in Football Manager is kind of geared up for the standard tactics 4-2-4, 4-3-3 and all of that kind of thing. But when an asymmetrical tactic or something that it's not really seen before, when something like that's thrown at it, I don't know whether that's what makes these tactics successful. So I thought today what would be an interesting exercise would be, yes, we'll do a rebuild on Leicester City, but we'll compare two different tactics. We'll compare an asymmetrical tactic, and we'll simulate that to the end of the season, see how that does, and we'll do a standard 4-3-3 or something like that, and we'll simulate that towards the end of the season and see how that one does. And I think it'll be quite an interesting exercise, and I'm quite excited to get going on it because I'm interested to see how it actually does, because I've never really used an asymmetrical tactic before. Okay, as we all know, Leicester City FC had great success in that 2015-16 season where they won the Premier League, and I think it confounded all the critics, surprised everybody. Probably not the Leicester City fans, because they were over the moon, but they did win the Premier League in the 2015-16 season. Nigel Pearson was sacked in 2015. Claudio Ranieri was brought in as manager, and he took them to great success. And in that period, Jamie Vardy broke the record for Premier League games, consecutive Premier League games, in which he scored in every one of them, and that record still stands at 11 games. And also in that season, Riyad Mahrez won the PFA Footballer of the Year, and it was the first time an African player and an Algerian player had won that award. And of course, as we know, football is a very fickle game, and the season after they won the Premier League, Ranieri was actually sacked. And quite a few of the big names in football, Gary Lineker and Mourinho, actually came out and voiced their displeasure about the sacking of Ranieri. But Leicester City never really recovered after that, and although they kind of stabilised a little bit, unfortunately, at the end of the 2022-23 season, they were relegated. And obviously, very sad for the Leicester City fans. But today, the Gobby Gaffer is going to see whether he can get them back into the Premier League again. But like I say, with that twist of using two different tactics. So it'll be two simulations, and we'll see what happens at the end of both of them. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting. So let's dive straight in, shall we? Okay, I'm not going to spend too long on this because we don't want it to be War and Peace. And I have got two simulations to do. So there'll be more viewing at the end of this video than there would normally be. But if you just have a quick look down the squad, quite a number of players here, down to Amati, are all out of contract. Yuri Tielemans, interestingly, he is out of contract, £120,000 a week. So there's money to be, regained there with in the wage budget, and he is wanted. In fact, quite a few of the players are wanted. If we go down to players who are still in contract, James Maddison is wanted by City, United and Tottenham. Castagna is wanted by Milan, Juventus and that Capitoline. I keep forgetting which one that is, but he's wanted by 3 clubs. Harvey Barnes is wanted. There's quite a lot of these players wanted. Patson Daka is wanted by Villa. So I think there is money to be brought in. Whether or not I can do that, sometimes when it says these players are wanted, they're still here when the season kicks off. So we'll have to have a good route through that. Quick look in the dynamics. Team cohesion is average, but we've got a little red bar there. I'm guessing that's not good. Club atmosphere is abysmal, and managerial support is average, with another little red bar in there. So that's not good either, is it? Little favourite area of mine, if you watched any of my rebuilds, you'll know the staffing screen. This has to be top notch, and it will be by the time we come back. And of course, the reason why Leicester City have been relegated is, well, there's too many red dots on there, aren't there? And if we scroll down there, it didn't get any better. So we obviously need to improve on that. And those are all important finances. I am guessing the budgets have been announced. So we have got just under 69 million in the bank, a transfer budget of 21.7 million, which is not bad for a team in the Championship. So we should be able to bring some good players in, bit of wheeling and dealing. As we've seen on the squad screen, there are players wanted. If we can get decent money for them, we should be able to build a half decent team for the Championship. The Dev Centre, not an awful lot in there. I've had a look at the under-21s and under-18 squads. There are a few players in there, but we obviously need to hit the ground running if we're going to get promoted at the first opportunity. So not quite sure those players will be up to the task really. But you never know, I will have a good look through them. And like I say, I don't want this to become War and Peace. So we're going to come back very shortly with the transfers that I've done. Going to explain the formations, these two formations, an asymmetrical and probably a 4-3-3 I'm thinking. And we're going to compare the two of them. So I'm going to try and buy players in that will fit into both tactics if I can. And then I'll show you exactly what I've done, all the instructions that I've set up. And then we will simulate both formations and tactics. We'll simulate them both to the end of the season and see which one does the better. Hopefully, they'll both get Leicester City promoted. But let's see if one works better than the other. It's a dual episode, this, in that it's a rebuild. We want to try and get Leicester City promoted, but we also want to have a look and see whether these asymmetrical formations and tactics are actually confounding the AI and whether that can actually work better than the standard 4-3-3. Okay, time for some head scratching. You know I love a good head scratch. I'm off. I'm going to do some transfer negotiations and let's do some ins and outs, see where we are at the end of it, and we'll be back very shortly. Well, that was a transfer window and a half. I think we should dive straight into the finances and have a quick look what's been going on. And after a transfer window where I have spent money, I brought quite a lot of players in. Yes, we've sold a few as well, but we have 161 million in the bank. We did get a 45 million parachute payment from the Premier League, but 161 million in the bank. 32 million I've still got left in the transfer budget. The transfer window has shut now. And the wage budget, we have a wage budget of 2.5 million and I'm spending 1.5 million. It's been a very odd transfer window. So as soon as I closed the camera down and clicked the next button, Iheanacho and Vestergaard both came to me, said they were considering their options at the end of the contract. That's the kiss of death for being able to bring any money into the club. So I immediately put them on the transfer market and managed to sell them both. Tielemans, I offered him a new contract and he was quite happy to sign one. But he wanted the board, I think, the board would have a ceiling of 140,000 and he wanted 165,000. And I really couldn't juggle it any other way. Didn't want to bankrupt the club. So in the end, we had to walk away from that one. And Tielemans got sold as well. One of the things that's helped us greatly, particularly in the wage department, is that most of the players, if not all of them, had a 35% wage drop written into their contracts. So immediately, click the button and everybody were on 35% less wages, which was absolutely brilliant from my point of view. So let's dive in, have a look at the transfers that I've been able to do. So as mentioned, Vestergaard and Iheanacho went out. Vestergaard to Zenit, 2.5 million for him, and Iheanacho to Everton for 20 million. We lost James Maddison to Manchester City, 31 million. Iverson went to Roma for 5 million, and Chowdhury went to Monaco for 10 million. And unfortunately, as you can see in there, Tielemans was out of contract at the end of the season. I'm not sure why that was never sorted out. I don't know. But he actually went to Newcastle on a free. Absolute crying shame, that one. So, players coming in order. We have Mohamed Salisu coming in from Southampton for 17 million. We needed some centre-backs because I didn't really think the centre-backs that were here were up to standard. Plus, we lost some players on free transfers and whatever. So, Salisu coming in, 24-year-old. He looks the bee's knees, very, very quick, which is kind of what I look for in a centre-back. Very quick, 6'3", got very good mentals, brilliant for heading. Again, I'm reading stats out. You can all read those. But he is very left-footed and he is starting for us. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has come in on a free. He's now worth 35 million, so I think a nice bit of business there. And he can play in a variety of positions. So obviously, bearing in mind the asymmetrical that we're going to be playing, he can play over on this side here. He's not amazing at it, but he can play there. But he can play on both wings. He can play centre mid. And again, he's got very, very good overall stats. There's not too many areas of his game that are weak. This one may be a little bit of a surprise to you. 31-year-old Isco, but he did come in on a free transfer. I don't think I would have paid money for him, but he came in on a free transfer. He's now worth 20 million, and as you can see, he's going to be our playmaker. We're going to play him in the middle here, and passing is 17, technique of 19, vision of 19. I mean, his physicals are not great. He's 31 now, but all we need him to do is just stand there, get the ball, and just feed the forwards, basically. And I think he will do that absolutely brilliantly. I've brought another goalkeeper in, Alban Lafont, paid about 6 million for him, I think. He's doubled in price. I'm not sure whether he's a massive upgrade on what we had, but I think he is an upgrade, 6'4", and I think he'll do a decent job for us. Couple of loan players next from Chelsea. If you watched any of my other saves, then Benoit Badiashile, I've used him quite a few times. He's coming in on loan. He's a fixed £56 million player, this lad. So, again, very left-footed. So, centre-backs now, we're actually building up a little bit of a pool of centre-backs. And, again, he's very, very quick. His mentals are very, very good. And, well, he can head a ball. He's 6'4". Why shouldn't he? And the second one is Mudryk, £91 million players worth this of loan. Absolutely brilliant bit of business. He's very, very, very quick, very determined. He's got lots of flair. One or two parts of his game are not amazing, but then again, he's only 22. He's going to come and play on that left wing or as an attacking midfield player. He can even play shadow striker and that kind of thing. So we are going to make great use of Mudryk. Back to the centre-back position. Cesar Montes, 11 million for this lad. And he's not got an awful lot of added value. You know I like my added value. It's worth 18 million now. But again, reasonably quick. He's not super quick, but he's reasonably quick. Mentals are very, very good, though. That's what drew me to him. Composure, concentration, decisions, all hitting like 15. Very good at heading, 6'3", but he's very right-footed, so fits in quite nicely with the centre-back pool. Another one that may be a little bit of surprise to you, Che Adams from Southampton. When I did I had a quick look at the media predictions and had a look at the media Dream 11. Che Adams was in there. And I thought to myself, you know what, if we can pinch Che Adams, even if we put a bid in for him, and you know how Football Manager works, as soon as you put a bid in, 6 other clubs are interested. I thought if we can pinch Che Adams off Southampton, who are going to be one of our big rivals, I think, that's got to be good. But in the end, he decided to come to us. So I thought, OK, that's fine, you know. I mean, he's got a 12 for finishing, and he's very, very quick. he can put the ball in the back of the net. Spoiler, he has been doing just that. So I think a good bit of business there. And seeing as Jamie Vardy now is, we've just had his testimonial. He's still at the club. He's bobbing on a little bit now. He will get some game time. But Patson Daka got a bad injury and he's been out for quite a few weeks. In fact, I think probably nearly a couple of months. So Che Adams has been playing and he's been banging goals in. Another loan player next, Calvin Stengs, and he's on loan from Nice, and he can play these two positions here, which is the asymmetric tactic that I showed you. He can actually play in that position, and he's full blown at it. Again, very quick. Mentals are okay. Bravery's a little bit low, but passing and technique very, very good. Again, I'm reading stats out. You've all got eyes, you can read them. So yeah, he's been signed to play on this right-hand side here, and very, very good in that asymmetric, wide midfield position. So he's kind of primarily been signed for that, but he can also play as the winger on the right-hand side. And then more or less on deadline day, my director of football came to me and said, Pascal Gross, 32, and I said, no thanks. And he said, well, why not? He's got loads of experience. Have a look at his stats. And I'd look at him and thought, you know what? Actually, maybe not a bad signing, because he can play up here. And he can play that shadow striker role. He can play in the middle. He's very good at passing, technique, off the ball, work rate. His mentals are very, very good. Pascal Gross, I thought, okay, fine, we'll have him in. And he kind of finished the squad off, if you will. And with all of that transfer business, the media think we are 2-9 to get promoted as champions. Southampton have been keeping an eye on this. Southampton have been in second place at 6-4 all the way along. But as soon as we pinched Che Adams off them, they dropped to third place. So this is looking very, very nice. I mean, the media Dream 11 has got Lafont, Salisu, Fayes, Castagna, Stenger, Ndidi, Barnes and Che Adams. Absolutely brilliant. We're very, very nearly filling the media Dream 11. I'll be very surprised if we don't get promoted. But of course, the object of it's a dual object in this save. And the dual object is, yes, get Leicester promoted back to the Premier League, but also test out these two tactics and formations and see, whether either one of them is better than the other. And I'm very interested to see how the asymmetrical tactic works and see whether that works better or worse than the standard tactic. Squad plan is looking very, very healthy indeed. I don't think we've got anybody below a 3-star in there. A lot of the players are 3.5. We've got any 4-star players? No, we have. Oh, yes, we have. Yeah, Castagna at right wing back is a 4-star, but are looking very, very healthy now overall. Very, very healthy. And the first tactic that we're going to do a simulation on is the 4-3-3 standard tactic. So we've got Adams up front as the advanced forward. Mudryk is an inverted winger. Stengs is the inside forward. We have still got Harvey Barnes. He's injured at the moment, and Patson Daka is on his way back. So there are players in here that will get some game time. I mean, Badiashile is actually on the bench at the moment, but Oxlade-Chamberlain is on the bench at the moment. So we have got a really good bench. Looking into midfield, we've got Isco. He's going to be the playmaker. Dewsbury Hall, box to box. And Ndidi is the defensive midfield player. And then we've got Christiansen, who is only 20 years old, but he's got 5 stars of potential, currently 3 stars. So he's been playing an awful lot for us. He's playing at left wing back on support. Salisu is, Salisu and Montez, the two new lads, are the starting centre-backs. But like I say, and we've got Badiashile to come in there as well. Castagna is going to play the wing-back on the right-hand side. 4-star player, absolutely tremendous stats. So we're playing with a fluid counter-attack. I'm going to play the same style with both of the tactic formations, just to make it as even as I can. But so we're playing with a custom fluid counter-attack on a positive mentality. So attacking width fairly wide. We're playing with a shorter directness. Tempo is standard. Play for set pieces because we've got some big lads in the team now. So hopefully they can, nod the ball in the back of the net. And I'm not giving too many instructions. I don't like to overload these things with too many instructions. So we're just playing out of defence and focus play through the middle. I mean, we've got players in the team now who are very, very intelligent, and hopefully they can make decisions on the pitch about when to go wide and when to cut in and all of that kind of stuff. So leave that to the players. In transition, we're countering, counter-pressing. We are on counter-attack as the tactical style. Distribute quickly. We're rolling the ball out from the back. So, and like I say, this will be the same for the asymmetrical when we do that one as well, just to try and keep it a level playing field. And out of possession, we're going to trigger the press more often. We're staying on feet. I don't want them diving in and getting loads of yellow cards and red cards. So we're staying on feet. We're playing with a higher defensive line and a high press line of engagement. And just having a quick look at what the board requirements are. And disappointingly, it's record a Sky Bet Championship top half finish. I mean, do they not want to get promoted? Very, very strange. So that's my transfer business done. I've shown you the tactic. I've shown you the formation. I've shown you the way that we're going to play. And all that's left to do now is to just press that button. We're going to holiday forward to the end of the season now and see how this 4-3-3 works. See if we get Leicester promoted. And let's see how many goals we've scored, how many chances we created. See if there's a decent points gap at the top of the championship there. And then obviously we'll be doing the same thing again, but with the asymmetric tactic. And I'll talk you right through that as and when we've had a look at how this 4-3-3 did. So we'll see you very shortly. Okay, very interesting season. Let's get stuck straight in and have a look what happened. Well, we did eventually get promoted, not as champions. We went up in second place. Southampton had 109 points. We had 106. Leeds with 95. So there were very clearly two winners in the league. The deciding factor was the two games that we played against Southampton. We'll have a look at that in a second. But Southampton battered us in both games. So not that great against, a rival. If we'd have won... Possibly, well, if we'd have won and drawn one of those games, we would have finished up as champions. Looking at the player stats here, goals, Che Adams came in third place, but not by a lot, 27 goals for the season. Thinking I'd nicked Southampton's goal-scoring machine from them. No, they still came top of the shop. Soloff, apparently, from Southampton, came first with 28 goals. Average ratings, again, Soloff. In fact, average ratings, Southampton scooped the board for that. Assists, Dewsbury Hall from Leicester got 12, came in third place. Player of the match, Che Adams, 7 player of the matches through the season, came third. Clean sheets, our new goalkeeper, Alban Lafont, with 24. And yellow cards, we're not too bothered about that. So the dynamic's still looking very good. Team cohesion, club atmosphere. We have 8 players now at the club who are unhappy. But obviously I've not been in charge, so I've not been able to deal with that kind of thing. But we are still looking quite good dynamics-wise. And the all-important schedule. So we did start the season very, very, very well. Apart from that friendly, the first defeat of the season came on the 31st of August. We had a 1-0 defeat in the Carabao Cup second round to Crystal Palace. So we're out of the Carabao Cup very, very early on. And then we had 3 draws in there, which is not great. Ipswich, Birmingham, Millwall. But then we played Southampton at home and got beat 5-0. That is not good at all. And then we have to look down again. Draw with Preston. Norwich got beat 3-2. Then we had 3 draws. Went off the boil a little bit there. Luton, Leeds and Bristol. come down again, another draw against Ipswich, and then we got battered again by Southampton 4-1. Knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round by West Ham. And then we went on a nice little run, and the next time we lost a game was against Norwich 5-2. So it seems as though when we lose really badly and letting a lot of goals. Because otherwise, if you see these wins here, we're not conceding many goals at all. And then coming down to the very last game of the season against Leeds, those are the games generally that do go pear-shaped, but we beat them 3-0. So have a little look through the team now. Che Adams, he made 44 appearances, 27 goals, 3 assists, 7 player of the matches, 7.10. Patson Daka, who would have been the other striker, rotating with 40 appearances, 24 goals, 6 assists, 4 player of the match, 7.23. So clearly up front we did really, really well. Stengs, how did Stengs do? 2 goals, 3 assists, 2 player of the match, 6.97. But he only made 18 appearances, so not great. Mudryk on the other side, 44 appearances, so he did play a lot. 13 goals, 7 assists, 4 player of the match, 7.04. Jamie Vardy only made 6 appearances through the season. Isco, let's have a look what Isco did. Bit disappointing, 36 appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists, 1 player of the match, 6.87. So a little bit disappointing from Isco. Dewsbury Hall, 42 appearances, 4 goals, 12 assists, 3 player of the match, 7.18. So clearly he was the assist maker in midfield. Even Ndidi, chipped in with a few assists. Average rating is 7.05. Oxlade-Chamberlain, 37 appearances, 6 goals, 10 assists, 5 player of the match, 7.23. Harvey Barnes, 38 appearances, 6 goals, 7 assists, 6.93. A little bit disappointing from him. The young wing back that I put in there only made 11 appearances, 7.26. Salisu, the new centre back, 6.98 off 37 appearances, not great. Montez, on the other hand, 40 appearances, couple of goals, 3 player of the match, 7.12. So quite a good return from him. Badiashile, let's have a look what Badiashile did. 7.10 off 43 appearances. And the new goalkeeper, Albert Lafont, 46 appearances, 39 conceded, 24 clean sheets, 1 player of the match, 7.01. So quite a good performance from Lafont. So using the 4-3-3, Leicester City have got promoted, albeit in second place. Would have liked to have gone up as champions, but Southampton seem to be the team to beat. Can we beat them with the asymmetric tactic? Well, we're going to go and have a look now. I'm going to reset and we're going to simulate the season again using that asymmetric tactic. So let's just have a quick look at it. Let's quickly go through this and before we do the simulation again. So we're now playing same custom fluid counter-attacking on a positive mentality. All of these, in possession, in transition, they're all the same. Obviously, the team is set up differently, so there are going to be some different instructions. For instance, Christiansen now is going to be a wing-back on attack, and he's going to have the free roam down this side. So what I've done is I've made Salisu a wide centre-back to cover this side a little bit more. And it'll be interesting to see whether Isco performs any better in this formation. He was a little bit disappointing for me, so let's see whether he can do any better. Stengs obviously can play this wide midfield role really well, so Stengs is in there. But the assistant manager has got free rein. The tactic is set. The tactic can't be changed, but the assistant manager can bring players in. He can draft players in and out as he feels fit, which is exactly what happened with the 4-3-3. So not an awful lot to show you in here other than we are going to now simulate a season playing this asymmetric tactic on more or less the same instructions, but obviously player positioning and player instructions are going to be a little bit different in this tactic. Well, they've got to be. So let's press the button again. Let's simulate a season using this asymmetric tactic and see if it does any better or worse. And hopefully Leicester City do get promoted again. It'd be nice if it did better and got us promoted as champions. But Southampton, I think, are a bit of a force to be reckoned with. I'll see you very shortly. Now then, if you've not watched the Southampton rebuild, I suggest you go and watch it, because anybody who did watch it, at the end of that, Southampton, as well as getting promoted, actually won the FA Cup. And guess what happened to Leicester? Well, we didn't actually win it, but we did really well. We beat Liverpool and Arsenal along the way. We got through to the final, and we actually lost in the final against Manchester City. I think the cup run definitely affected our season, but on the whole, I would say that the asymmetric system does actually work quite well. I mean, beating Liverpool and Arsenal on the run-in must have worked really well against them, and we only lost narrowly in the final. Let's have a look what happened. So as we can see, we did get promoted, albeit only in second place again, behind Southampton once again, but only by the 1 point. And again, that was determined by the head-to-heads. Southampton and Norwich really seem to have a number on Leicester City. We'll have a look at the schedule in a second. But yep, Southampton, 103 points, promoted as champions. Leicester in second, 1 point behind, still promoted, 102 points. Leeds in third, 93 points. So it's as you were with the three promoted teams. The three that got relegated have all got promoted again. It does seem to be a little bit more of a creative tactic, though. Patson Daka this time comes out as top goal scorer with 27 goals. Southampton nowhere to be seen. Southampton still do have their highest average ratings, but assist-wise, Albrighton this time seems to, because of the asymmetric tactic, we're playing with that wide midfielder. Obviously, the assistant manager has played him a lot more, and this time he gets 15 assists where he was nowhere to be seen in the 4-3-3. And Gross, the lad who I was a bit unsure about bringing in, Pascal Gross, he got 12 assists as well. So obviously the asymmetric tactic is bringing other players into the team that wouldn't probably normally get a game. And creativity-wise, it seems to have been better. So looking onto the schedule then, so we did get beat by Crystal Palace again, only narrowly this time on penalties. A few dodgy results early on, Blackburn a draw, Millwall a draw. We did go on a little bit of a run there, but then again we play Southampton. This time it was quite a narrow win for Southampton, 1-0. If you remember in the 4-3-3 we got absolutely battered. So it was still a loss though, but a much slighter loss. We got beat by Swansea. A lot less draws in here, if you notice. There's a lot less draws, but we did lose a few more games. Norwich got beat 2-1. And then we come down to the FA Cup third round against Preston, 1-1 draw. The replay, we beat them 3-0. But then that was followed by 2 losses in the league. Then we played Arsenal in the FA Cup fourth round. And thanks to 2 goals from Mudryk and an Isco penalty, we beat them 3-2. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Then a draw. I mean, it's been a little bit of a mixed season, if you can say that. But then we come to the 5th round of the FA Cup at home. We beat Newcastle 5-0. Ndidi, Pascal Gross with a penalty. Patson Daka, Mudryk. I mean, 5-0 against Newcastle. And if you remember, Tielemans went there. Didn't do him a lot of good, did it really? Norwich again, another 2-0 loss. Southampton and Norwich, absolutely. I don't know what goes on with them, but we've just not got the measure of them at all. But then we came back then and beat Rotherham 5-0. And then we played the FA Cup quarter-final, and after extra time, beat Aston Villa 2-1. And then we went on an absolutely brilliant run then towards the end of the season. This is what got us a second place, because I don't know whether you noticed on the league table, but we had 5 wins in the running. Southampton had 3 wins, a draw and a loss. If we could have just picked up an extra couple of points, we could have been champions. But absolutely brilliant. And then we come down to, at Wembley, playing Liverpool, we beat them 2-0 with goals from Patson Daka and Mudryk. And we finished the league off in style, beating Leeds 4-1. And then unfortunately, we couldn't just go that extra mile. And Mudryk did score 2 goals in the FA Cup final, but we got beat 3-2. So Che Adams this time, 41 appearances, 22 goals, 2 assists, 5 played of matches, 7.05. But I think Patson Daka had a much more involved season. 37 appearances, 27 goals, 4 played of matches, 7.20. So I think this system suited Patson Daka a lot better. The disappointing one was out on the the right of midfield there, and 26 appearances for Stengs, 3 assists, 1 player of match, 7.02. Not amazing, to be honest. But one player that it did benefit was Isco. Isco this time, 40 appearances, 13 goals, 11 assists, 5 player of the matches, 7.20. So Isco played much, much better in this tactic. Mudryk, I think this tactic suited Mudryk a lot better as well. 35 appearances, 10 goals, 10 assists, 5 played a match, 7.21. And as we saw, a couple of goals in the cup final. So he is a tremendous player. So I think on balance, and without making this video War and Peace, we could go into stats and everything. But I think on balance, I think the asymmetric tactic did work quite a lot better. We had a few more losses rather than draws, but I think certain players played much, much better in this tactic. Mudryk played a lot better in it. Isco played a lot better in it. And I suppose when you think about it, they are top players, very creative. So does the asymmetric tactic suit more creative players? I think when we looked at the stats, Patson Daka, top goal scorer in the division. We had 2 players in the top 3 of the top assists for the season. So I think this tactic probably, we didn't lose games either. That's another thing. I mean, when we lost games in the 4-3-3, we really did lose them. We conceded 5 goals. Yes, we got beat by Southampton twice again, but they're only narrow victories this time, and they didn't absolutely batter us. So I think the one thing you have got to bear in mind, and you do see a lot of these on YouTube where, oh, this is a killer tactic, and well, okay, it might be a killer tactic the way that you're playing it with your players, with your stats and the way you're organising it, but is it going to be a killer tactic for everybody? It would have been interesting to use this asymmetric and manage through the season with it. And when you see that, you're losing a few games, do a little bit of tweaking, maybe sort your centre halves out a little bit differently, bring somebody in who's having a little bit of a bad run. When you're leaving it to the AI and the assistant manager, I mean, obviously the assistant manager, the one that I've got in there is a good assistant manager, but is he going to do the changes and make the tweaks that I would make? I mean, we will never know that. But I think on balance, I think the asymmetric does come out of this better than the standard 4-3-3. And of course, the big question at the beginning of this was that does that actually confound the AI? We'll never know. I think it did play better than the 4-3-3. So maybe we could say, particularly with the FA Cup run, beating the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal, Newcastle 5-0. Maybe you would say against the bigger, better teams, maybe this tactic does work a lot better than the 4-3-3. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's not been too long. Anybody who stuck it till the end, well, thanks very much. But we'll see you next time, and we'll probably have another rebuild, maybe another tactics comparison. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I think these kind of videos, very interesting, very informative, and sometimes things in these videos you can take away, maybe try them in your saves. So all that's left for me to say is thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.